Hello and welcome to Two Therapists and a Microphone. I am Dr. Harrison Davis.
And I'm Dr. Aisha Dickerson.
Two Therapists and a Microphone is a podcast show about mental health, relationships, and social issues that personally affect you. We broadcast live every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Our Black Media Network.
We are two licensed psychotherapists with decades of experience, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your situations and any dilemmas that you're going through these days. So please let us know what's going on or ask us any questions by visiting our website, www.twotherapists.com, and click on Ask Two Therapists at the top of the page.
Absolutely. So happy holidays, everyone. It is December the 1st.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk about managing difficult times. And this is going to be the holiday edition. This is the holiday season. For some people, it doesn't feel like the holiday season. I know I'm trying to get in the holiday spirit. Had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I ate a lot. Had a great time with family. How was your Thanksgiving, Aisha?
I won't even say it was wonderful this time because honestly, I used to try to get away during Thanksgiving. Not get away by myself, but like I was in Mexico last year, I've
I
been in
remember.
other countries. I just try not to be in the Thanksgiving space. And there's a story behind that, but we don't have to talk about that right now. But I try to avoid that and try my best to stay as happy as
Yep.
possible during the whole holiday season.
Yeah, I try to. I usually stay here. I remember you went to Cabo, I think it was
It was.
last Christmas. Yeah, so but this year my clients they're talking about the holiday season a little bit earlier than usual, and some of them are having challenges trying to feel happy for the holidays. And some of the things that I'm hearing from them is that they don't feel safe, and that there's a lot of violence going on. I know in particular here in Atlanta, we recently had some shootings in a shopping area in Atlanta, Atlantic Station, where some teenagers were shot and killed, a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. That just happened recently. And prior to that, there was a memorial for another 17-year-old who was shot and killed. And during the memorial, where they were just talking, on the street corner where he was shot, someone drove by and shot at the crowd
That is
and
so
shot
crazy.
someone else. And no one was killed, but it just was a reminder on top of the shooting at the nightclub in Colorado.
Mhm.
Which happened recently too. So a lot of my clients are talking about the how that's all affecting them, and it appears to be interfering with them trying to get in the holiday season. Have you heard anything like that from your
Well,
clients?
I know that for a lot of my clients and friends, family, and myself as well, one of the most fun things about the holiday season was always going out shopping.
Yep.
Being at the mall and seeing Santa and the Christmas trees. And now it's like, number one, everybody's got bad attitudes, or you don't want to get sick, and you definitely don't want to get shot. So I'm almost finished with all of my holiday shopping. Like, thank you, Amazon and Target.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
And
all I
Walmart.
needed. Right. And they were nice enough to do all their Black Friday deals before Black Friday. So we didn't even get the people say the hustle and bustle of Black Friday. For me, it was fun, just
Yep.
being able to get that other people couldn't get. But now everybody could just log on the week before and after Thanksgiving and get it. So
Or
there's
even that
just no more
Friday, that's
right.
what I did. I took my daughter to the mall Black Friday, and it was different. It wasn't crowded. It was easy finding a parking space right
Oh.
there at the door. And it was like that routine of the mall. Even if I wasn't planning on buying something, it was just nice to be in that environment,
Hmm.
just to say I went shopping Black Friday,
Right.
and but you're right. this
I heard
this
the
year,
sales weren't that great either
well, I was just
on
walking
Black Friday in the
around,
mall.
with my daughter, just to be in an environment, but it
Hmm.
felt funny. People were not happy. I can't say they were rude. It's just the mood and the energy just wasn't high, and it was like a typical Saturday.
Hmm.
So it was a little weird this year, and so I can understand how people are feeling like it's not as easy this year to get into the holiday spirit. And so another topic that many of my clients are talking about is about Shanquella Robinson.
Mhm.
It just so happened that took place recently also. Are you familiar with that situation?
I am. I refuse to watch the video because I get
Yeah,
so upset with any type of violent videos. But I read the description, and that was enough for me to imagine it. And I didn't need to see it. But it was like, what one thing I know for sure is that they keep calling these people um, her friends, and they're just not her friends based
yep,
on what I read.
yep.
It's like I want to give the media the same speech I give my kids. Not everybody is your friend.
That's
When
right.
someone showed you who they are, believe them, let it go. Stop trying to be friendly and make people like you. Just find you some new and better friends.
Be friends with people who are your friend is something that I've said.
That's a great way to say that.
But for some of you guys who don't know, I'll just keep it real quick. Shanquella Robinson was a 25-year-old black woman in North Carolina, and she went with her college friends, to Cabo San Luca, Mexico. And while there,
Where I was last Thanksgiving, it's a
that's right.
great place.
And it's great that she was able to go and to another country, experience another culture, and go on vacation at one of the hot spots. But what happened was one of her friends decided to attack her and to assault her, and the other friend videotaped it. And
Mhm,
the end result is that Shanquella ended up with a broken neck, cracked spine, and
mhm.
ended up dead in another country. And it looks like her friend set her up
Right.
to jump her. And it was videotaped too. And so that part is sad, but what's even worse, they flew back, talked to the mom
Mhm.
of the girl she
Cried with her,
killed,
sat on her sofa in the
sat on
house.
her sofa and told the mom a lie that Shanquella died of alcohol poisoning. But then the autopsy came back, and the mom, she had to cough up $6,000 to get her daughter's body flown back to North Carolina. But finally, um, the Mexico police decided to issue a arrest warrant, and they're going to uh, go through their police proceedings, to have a trial, is what I'm assuming.
Mhm.
But all of that's been happening. It's a hot topic right now for a lot
Yeah.
of black folks. It's not exactly related to Christmas, but that is just something else to remind people about the violence that is out there and think about that poor girl in another country
Right.
where
Well,
where, where they
and then I think about her mother now having to go through all these holidays without her child and seeing this stuff play out on the news about her child. This is going to be her holiday memories from now on.
Absolutely. And it's triggering for some
Hmm.
people who have lost individuals over the last year or so, or there's a big change in their life, something that they have to deal with. And so the holidays, with all of these things going on, I'm pretty sure there are other cities out there too who are experiencing some similar issues. And so today I wanted us to talk about, the issue of managing stress during
Okay.
the holidays. So I brought on today, bringing on a special guest with us today. That is Shantae Evans. She's a therapist from Atlanta. Let me get her bio up. Shantae Evans has a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling from South Carolina State University and a graduate certificate in psychiatric rehabilitation from the University of South Carolina. Her mission is to partner with her clients to help them foresee a brighter future. She places importance on utilizing trauma and culturally sensitive approaches when providing a comprehensive mental health care to individuals, groups, couples, and families. She also strives to create a warm, healthy therapeutic relationship. She utilizes an eclectic approach, counseling approach, to help her clients. Her goal is to guide her clients to identify alterable variables within their environments to resolve conflicts and alleviate feelings of frustration, anger, sadness, stress, and anxiety. Welcome to the show, Shantae. And Shantae, are we there?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. So, Aisha and I were just talking about the holiday season and getting in the mood. Tell us some of your thoughts about this time of the year and what some people are experiencing with trying to get into the holiday spirit. And how is this year different than other years?
Yeah, just speaking of myself, this year I'm outside. I mean, I was a little hesitant to come out, in previous years because of COVID and different things, just trying to be careful, but I'm outside and I'm visiting family and just trying to missions with people that I haven't seen in a long time, but also trying to support my clients. And they are going through a number of things. I see kids, I see high school students, I see adults, couples, and some of my high school students, especially the ones who are dealing with identity issues. Some of those issues are supported well at home, but when they start to interact with people outside of the family, like extended, oh, well, they don't know that I'm a trans male, or, I haven't broached this with my family. Some of mine are dealing with new custody issues. So, which holiday am I going to be with my father this year versus my mom? Some of my couples are dealing with things that they didn't have to deal with when they were, in the middle of the pandemic. But now that things have kind of settled a little bit, and there's an itch to do things that they weren't accustomed to doing earlier. Those things are a little awkward, and those situations can tend to be frustrating, but also exciting for some couples. It just depends. So I'm dealing with a wide range of issues, just trying to meet my clients where they are. But some of them get tricky, and we have to be creative with some of the approaches that we discuss.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what I know, I'm not just thinking about my clients. I'm thinking about my colleagues, friends, and family in general. Is that
Mhm.
people lost a lot of family members over the last 2 years. And I'm thinking of one or two people in particular, which every holiday is their first. It's my family member's first birthday without them, or this is our first Thanksgiving without them. This is my first time decorating for Christmas without them. So, can you tell us what are some of the ways that people can manage this grief? Because to me, it seems a little more complicated. It's almost like grief in July is just completely different than grief in December.
And I'm thinking of a client that I talked with the other day. She lost her grandmother, and her grandmother kind of held the family together. And we don't see a lot of that as society has just kind of progressed. And we love social media, we love technology, but some of us have kind of spread apart. But when it comes to the holidays, her grandmother was pivotal for keeping the family together, doing all the cooking, managing the conversations. And she knew that this year was just going to be different for her. So, what are some ways that you can honor the memory of your grandmother? What are some things that maybe you can keep going, or what are some conversations that can be held, you know, in of your grandmother? And she thought about some of those things, and there was a particular game that they played. So she talked with her mother, because it's her maternal grandmother. So she talked with her mother. Were able to play those games. They were able to have some of those conversations, and also figure out, who's gonna take the bull by the horns and continue some of the things that happened while her grandmother was living. Also, she talked about her grandfather and her grandmother deciding on what toys to buy the kids. So her mother asked her brother, "Is this something that you want to continue?" And he said yes. So they continued to put that into place so that it could be a family tradition. It didn't have to necessarily go away just because grandma is no longer with us. So those are just a few examples of some things that she and I talked about when we were in session right before we went into Thanksgiving.
That's good. I like that, honoring the memory of the relative, the grandmother. And it sounds like somebody's going to figure out who's going to take on that role
Right.
within the family, and keeping everybody together. So, what I also want to hear, for the audience to even think about, it's so difficult for some people to realize that they are having a stressful time, and people don't know that they are depressed or they feeling anxious. Can you tell us about some of those symptoms that you believe are common, during this time of year where people need to pay attention to, instead of just saying, I'm having a rough day, to actually admit, oh, this is something that I need to address. So can you help the audience talk about some of those symptoms or those things that people go through?
Yeah, some of the things that people go through is an increase in frustration. Like, do little things just kind of get under your skin for no reason and you can't pinpoint it? Do you feel as if the things that you used to do are just things that you don't know why you can't get back to them, but you know that those are things that you're doing. Some other things that may stand out as, are you wanting to get out of bed? Does it seem like you're having to drag yourself out of bed? Now, for people, that can be something that they want, depending on the job environment that they're going into. But is there anything significant about this time of year that makes it different? Do you have close contacts that are saying, hey girl, we hadn't heard from you, what's going on? And it may not have even come to your mind that you haven't been in contact with these people. It's just that you were kind of in your own world. Some people experience a decrease or an increase in appetite or sleep. Some people also, the way that they used to take care of themselves, maybe they were kind of dressed to the nine before they left the house, but now they just don't care what they put on. They don't care how they look, how they show up, now. And it wasn't that way before. So I ask clients to think about like what is a technical term, just a minute here, what's baseline for you, what's normal for you, and how is what you're dealing with right now different from how you used to be. That can be the starting point for figuring out whether or not this is just a bad day versus, this is probably something that I need to pay attention to and be mindful of, because this just ain't me and I don't know what's going on.
Thank you. Yes. So how about once you notice these things, or in my mind, other people are noticing them for you, what do you do about it? Like, okay, I recognize my appetite has decreased. I'm saying for me, I know my appetite has decreased. I think I've lost 10 pounds in the last week. You're
All right.
irritable. You're tired. What do you do now? Now that you recognize it, what's the next step?
Well, I always say evaluate the source. You want to figure out, where's this information coming from? All information is data and drive your decisions. But depending on who it's coming from, it may not necessarily be valid. But if this is a close person, this is someone that, you can hang your hat on what this person says. They have your best interest at heart. They're your ride or die chick. They can be there for you in the trenches when you're going through, and you're there for them. Then you might want to take stock of what they're saying. Avoid getting defensive, because sometimes we're too close to a situation and we may not necessarily see it or feel it. But if this person is someone that is noteworthy, someone that has a good view, and that they have your best interest at heart, then listen again without being defensive, and also ask probing questions. When did you notice this? How is this different from before? Is this in me prior to what you're saying right now? What are some things that you've seen me do that point to you specifically, not just vague, because sometimes when people make blanket statements, it can be hard for us to hear. So be specific in the questions that you ask, and make sure that the information that you receive is specific, because you won't necessarily know what behaviors to pay attention to or even to change if it's not something that you can, I say, if it's not measurable or observable, if you can't see it, you can't count it, then you can't necessarily figure out how to pinpoint it and to change it. But get as much information as possible, and do some self-evaluation. Is this something that I can change right now? Is this something that maybe I need to talk with someone about? Maybe a professional. Friends are good, but sometimes we need to rely on professionals. Do I need professional help at this time? And then from there, you can figure out, how do you change the things that you're able to change on your own? And then what are some things that you know you're going to need the support of a professional in order to maybe peel back some layers and dig. You just didn't realize that it was affecting you to this point. And that.
So I like that suggestion that you gave, Shante, about taking the feedback, from people who know you, and the people who notice the change. And I also want to point out, let's not forget the brothers, let's let's not forget the men out there too, because guys, it can be tough sometimes for them to listen and take that feedback from somebody. And there are those guys who don't have those type of relationships, with somebody where they can believe what they're telling them. So for some of the guys, this may be a sexist statement, but some of the guys, I just have to warn everybody, it's not so easy for them to rely on the information that they receive from other people, even when they love them and trust them. So what can you say to the people who are like in denial about things? People are giving them that feedback, but they're still not believing it. What more can you tell them to pay a little bit more attention to things?
Well, I say look inward. Whenever we have a situation where someone is experiencing denial, there's some real hurt and pain there that they're just not ready to face. And it's about figuring out whether or not this is truly something that you're ready to work on. Everybody moves in their own time. And what may be signaling readiness to one person, it might be signaling that to the next person. So go inward, think about who you are, who you want to change, and then figure out whether or not this is something that you can move on immediately, or whether or not you need to just set a goal towards. And there's short-term, you all know there's short-term and long-term goals. A lot of people like to target the new year. Oh, in the new year, new me. I'll be ready to do this in the new year. Some people target that time. Some people say, you know what, I'm gonna be summertime fine, even for the fellas. So, I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be doing what I need to do, but I'm just not ready yet. There's some steps can be taken, but maybe in your own time, baby steps. They may not have gotten there overnight. They're certainly not going to overnight. So go inward, figure out what is this information telling you, whether or not you're truly ready to move on it, and then decide when is the right time without feeling pressured, without being forced. This is solely you making a decision about your life and what you feel is the next step for you.
Like that.
So what I've heard from a lot of people is that it's important not to isolate yourself. And some of us, we just want to be left alone on a regular
introverts.
day. Right. But I hear all the time, especially around the holidays, don't isolate yourself, be around your family. And I'm thinking about those people who are even trying to do that and failing, for lack of better terms, through no fault of their own. People who would love to be in a relationship, but there's just not really enough fish in the sea. But they're still having to watch all those engagement commercials on TV from Jared and Kay and everybody else. Or those who would love to be around their family, but because of some big blow up over usually something stupid, the family won't even get together. What are some of the things that those people can do to be around people, or is that even necessary?
It depends on the circumstances. All the things that y'all are mentioning are things that it seems like I just talked with my clients about. Had a young lady, family was like, you know what, we hadn't seen such and such in a long time. Where, is she coming to Thanksgiving? And prior to Thanksgiving, we talked about this, and there's drama. There's way too much drama in that family. It's too dysfunctional. And we had to have some deep conversations about the importance of inner peace. I don't care how much money you have, you cannot buy inner peace. And there's something to be said for peace, love, and happiness. And that starts with you.
Hallelujah.
So what is it that you can feed your soul? Yes. What is it that you can feed your soul with? Is it saying that you're ready to entertain your family? Absolutely not. That's what I've heard consistently over several sessions. So If I've heard some people talk about Friendsgiving. I know we just came out of Thanksgiving, but there's a
Mhm.
thing called
Yep.
Friendsgiving. Y'all may have heard of that,
Yep.
where if we can't get with family, we get with friends. You know,
Yep.
we do our own thing. If it's to the point where, like you said, they just can't get out. They want to. They're in doubt about whether or not they should. They're not sure if there's going to be some drama that comes out of it. Then what are the things that can be done in the comfort of your own home and make you feel fulfilled, but also make sure know that you have peace of mind at the end of the day. This is about you and what makes you happy. You don't have to justify anything to anybody. When you're grown, you're
Hallelujah.
grown. You don't
I
owe
like
anybody
that.
any explanation out of respect for some, right? Out of respect for some of our elders. You know, you can simply say, well, you know what, I can't make it this year. Thanks for the invitation, but I'm going to be at home this year. Period. End it right there, and just be happy with where you are.
I like that. Protecting your peace, creating your peace and then protecting it. And what I'm hearing you talk about really, it's all about boundaries, and creating some healthy boundaries for you that might upset other individuals because of you're breaking some type of family tradition, that's out there. If you can tell the audience just a little bit, what are boundaries? And what are some other ways that people can create healthy boundaries during this time of the year? We can talk about expectations too.
Oh, sure. But I the simplest way for me to put boundaries is that these are things that you put in place for protection. Boundaries are for protection. Just imagine the road that you're traveling down. You have lines in the road that tell you that you need to stay in your lane, and in order for you to get into another lane, you need to follow the rules of the road. If you go over into another lane without putting on your signal light, oh, you can do that, but you're violating a boundary, and somebody's probably going to feel some type of way. So you're putting mechanisms in place that represent you. These have nothing to do with anybody else but you. This is what you need for your peace of mind and your happiness. But it doesn't have to be done aggressively. These are things that that meet your needs, and you can communicate them in a respectful but calm way. You know what? If I don't like taking phone calls after 9 o'clock, the healthiest way for me to communicate that boundary to my friends is that, you know what, I try to be in bed by 8 o'clock, child. But if you call me around about 8:45, I mean, I might be a little groggy on the phone, but 9 o'clock, you definitely ain't gonna get me. I'm gonna be in slumberland somewhere, dreaming of what I'm gonna accomplish down the road. So if they call me at 9 o'clock, they've already they can try, but
Yeah.
expect not to get me. And
I like
again, I
that.
don't owe anybody any explanation. I don't have to go. Yeah,
That's the
it
key
is what
because
it
I,
is.
I have clients, I'm helping them to create those healthy boundaries and not agreeing to create 4 or 5 different dishes, for the big family dinner and gathering. They want to
Mhm.
sit back and relax. And I'm encouraging them to do that, but they feel this expectation because that's what they've always done. But this year they don't want to do it. And I tell them, just like you said, you don't owe them an explanation. Just tell the family in advance, that you're not going to cook, but you got to stand behind that. And I realize that's not an easy decision, for some people out there. And
It
also,
is for me. That would have been an easy,
I know that's
easy
easy for
decision.
you, but there are people who've been doing it their whole
Mhm.
lives, and there's this expectation that they
They
continue doing
have.
it. And it's tough for them to tell their family, I'm not going to cook 4 or 5 different meals or dishes this year. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to cook anything. And then they feel guilty about it. And that creates this extra stress and pressure on their shoulders, or even not agreeing to do the little logistics dance. We're gonna go over to granddaddy's house, at 9 o'clock in the morning. Then we gotta go over to grandmama's house. Then we gotta go by your auntie's house. So the holiday becomes this travel logistical
Mhm.
gymnastics. And I'm helping a client to make decisions, just like you said, just to focus
It
on
does.
you and your peace. But it is challenging for some people that are out there. So I'm so happy that you talked about that. If it makes you feel uneasy, let's think about, and other people are happy, they benefit from it. Why don't we think about what you can do for you? And a simple no, I'm not doing it this year. Sometimes is all that you need.
Absolutely. And don't set a boundary that you know you're not going to enforce. What's the point?
All right.
Well, so but before we were talking, I talked about me going out of the country very often for Thanksgiving. So Harrison, what you brought up is it kind of alludes to what my experience was. And I said, so I'm trying to make this as short as possible. When I was 14, my grandmother had a stroke on Thanksgiving, and she
Mm,
died about 10, 11 days before Christmas.
mm,
Now, you can grieve that and remember that around the holidays, but that's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that everybody else just kind of divided up after that. Certain people fell out with, this person fell out with this one because they didn't invite them to their wedding, and this
yeah.
one didn't let them have this out of our house. And these two just don't like each other anyway. And whereas everyone would come together for grandma before, now everyone is at their home. And then even when I was married, now you got to stop by everybody's house. Every
Yep.
uncle, every aunt, your mom, your step auntie, your in-laws, and that became too much to the point where I was like, you know what? We won't be here. Don't
I
look for
see. So
us.
you just left the country.
Right. I just leave the country for Thanksgiving.
What I've told people, no, you come over here. How about that?
But
You,
see, they
you, you
never require me to cook, and see, that's
I
not
can
me.
buy it. I can
Okay,
buy it.
okay, that's an
It
idea.
comes in a box, and it's all, and then you go pick it up and Whole Foods, and put it in the oven and warm it up. But and everybody brings a dish, make it a potluck.
I
But
like that idea.
I hear you. It is challenging, Shante. Finally, to talk about those family traditions and triggers, and making decisions about who you want to be around this time of the year, and how that energy could affect your mood as well. So, as we close out today, you've given us some wonderful advice and guidance on this. What are some final words that you have about managing difficult times? And it just happens to be the holiday season right now.
I've said earlier, reflect, protect your inner peace. It's all about and what gives you peace of mind.
Gotcha. I like that a lot. Aisha, what do you want to say to close out today's show?
I do want to say that if you do have those broken relationships and you want to try to fix them, you're interested in fixing them, don't be afraid to do that. If you haven't reached out to someone in over a decade, just try. It might not go the way you want it to, but it might alleviate some anxiety if you at least try. And see a therapist who'll be happy to do some family counseling with y'all. Probably not the week before or after Christmas. Everybody wants to try to get in all their holiday stress sessions around the holidays, but we want to take a break too. But it's never too
Absolutely.
late.
And I tell people, it's the end of the year. We're going to roll over to a new year. And if something is still bothering you, there's still an issue there. This is a great time to confront it. Let's think about how we're going to walk into, that's what the young folks say. I'm going to walk into 2023, with a new mood, a new energy, and we have to leave certain things behind
Hmm.
in 2022. And this is a great time to start practicing that and think about you. I like to think about your needs. I like the things that you said, Shante, about keeping your peace and what is best for you. So that's the best advice that I can give to everybody that's out there. Enjoy the holiday. Why would you let somebody mess it up for you? And even if you're still dealing with things, try to do something a little bit different. Talk to somebody, take that feedback, but you got to try something new in order for you to have a different experience. So, Shante, why don't you tell the audience how can they contact you?
Oh, well, you have done me have my website here on the screen.
I got
So
it ready.
you want to HTTPS, yeah, :// Shantay, SHANTAY-EVANS, which is Evans, clientsecure.me. So it's a mouthful,
Absolutely.
but thankfully we have it right here on the screen.
Gotcha. So if you guys want to continue this conversation with Shante, she is available. As you can see, she has some wonderful ideas and strategies for you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. this beginning of the holiday season, December the 1st, 2022. I have enjoyed talking about today's topic. I learned a couple of things too.
Yeah.
Aisha, anything else you want to add?
Nope, just follow us on Twitter and Instagram, 2TM Show.
All right. We will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching Two Therapists and a Microphone.